This is a fictional mindbender. X-Men 97 surprised me again this week with its portrayal of the relationship of Rogue and Gambit. The sequel series has taken some liberties with it by introducing Rogue's past relationship to Magneto, which was never mentioned nor seen or even hinted at in the original series, though everyone knows that it was a thing in the comics. And in this new series, they seem to have rekindled that relationship somewhat. And obviously this threw the whole arc with her and Gambit into a mix-up, because in the original series, Gambit had confessed his love to her and even kissed her. That being said, I think X-Men 97 plays coy as to whether or not Rogue actually was hooking up with Magneto or not, since when we finally do see them kiss at the gala dance in episode 5, it's almost like it's the first time in a while that they've done that, rather than as part of an ongoing current relationship. Of course, it's easy to think that they were having sex throughout the mansion, but it is what it is. So that's up to interpretation. What this does do is that it puts a three-dimensional nuanced spin onto Rogue and Gambit's relationship by exploring in depth what keeps them apart regarding her powers and how they individually feel about that. As revealed in the excellent fireplace scene after Magneto proposes to her, Rogue finally expresses the true depth of her frustration when she screams,
"I can't touch you, Remy! Your heart may beat for me, but I can't feel it. You light up everything you touch, but never me."
and it's not a scream of anger, but a catharsis, if you will, of years of pent-up desire, love, and even anger at their situation. And that Gambit was able to look past that all was good on him and all, but for Rogue, she just was not in that place anymore, or at least not for a while. They're not only on two different levels physically, but emotionally as well. What the Magneto factor introduces into the relationship is for Rogue to finally indulge those primal feelings that she hadn't been able to do with Gambit. Again, whether or not anything sexual occurred during the season is up for interpretation, but the gala dance and kiss was definitely Rogue indulging herself, and also a visual representation of the different fields both her and Gambit were living on. I think what it is that Rogue's original relationship with Magneto was based off of being able to interact with someone that she was generally attracted to for once, and she wasn't in a relationship of any kind, so what's stopping her? It wasn't a fuckboy relationship where Rogue was just having a bunch of sex just because she finally could, as it were, but that she definitely felt a connection of some sort with Magneto, but only to a certain point, which is why she left him. But as we see as well, after she kisses Magneto in the present, she rejects him for Gambit because, despite her urges and frustration with the relationship, she still loves him, which is what the Cajun was referring to during their argument, and had based the relationship off of. I think that it's then that Rogue understands and gains clarity, albeit too late as we all know, about what was going on with her. She does have feelings for Magneto, but only as far as finally able to physically interact with someone intimately and sexually. But beyond that, there was a disconnect like she had with Gambit. Or, in other words, the Rogue-Magneto relationship was an inverse of the Rogue-Gambit relationship. And, in the end, it was the substance of the thing that mattered more to her. It's also worth noting the maturity that Gambit handled the situation with when it counted, which is ironic given how Magneto had written off Gambit's jealousy as immature passive aggressiveness. Yes, Gambit was jealous of how close Rogue and her ex were becoming, but he was also unaware of their past history. Yet despite that, and despite this buildup of tension because of that, there's no huge blowout or drama really between the two up until the fireplace scene. And even then, their argument was extremely civil given the passion expressed by both people. There were no personal insults flowed between them, and the only accusation Gambit throws out is that Rogue didn't tell him about her past relationship, leaving him to stew in his own frustration and imagination. And when Rogue finally vents the totality of how angry and frustrated she is at not being able to act on her feelings for Gambit, I think it's then that he finally sees Rogue in her full personhood. The game and flirtations were now well and truly over, and Gambit accepts this truth of their relationship up to that point. But he vows also to remain her friend regardless, because it was never about what he got from her that mattered to him, but that he really loved Rogue, and that whatever she needed to be or do, as Nightcrawler said to him earlier in the episode, he would forgive and still be by her side. And by the way, this is not throwing shade at Rogue at all, because I know some people like to think that. Though it could have been handled better, obviously, Rogue needed to explore whatever relationship she had with Magneto to get the clarity that she needed about what mattered to her most. She wasn't being selfish because she wasn't trying to be malicious to Gambit at all. She wasn't trying to fuck around, as it were, because she finally could, but was trying to respect Gambit in the tense situation, which he was fully aware of. I dare say that Rogue and Gambit actually needed that challenge from Magneto to truly move them to the next level of their relationship, because before that, they only saw each other in part, but never as a whole. They saw the ideal, but they let the ideal hide the reality of the emotional tension that was placed on both of them because of their physical situation. And this was something the two of them needed to deal with before they could move the relationship on to anything further. And whether or not they actually revive Gambit somehow so that they can further explore that, who knows? But that being said, let me know your opinions below. And otherwise, this is Fictional Mindbender, and you guys have a good day.